All right, y'all. What is going on? Welcome. My intro is short and sweet. It's nothing big, but I am so close right now. I'm about, I think, less than 100 hours. You have to have 3,000 watch hours, and I'm like less than 100 watch hours away from getting my channel monetized and all that good stuff. So if I can get there, maybe we could do it tonight. This is gonna be about an hour stream. We got Vaughn Coleman waiting behind the scenes back there, and we're gonna bring him on. But if I can get to about 100 watch hours, that would put me over, and then we can monetize. And I will do a new intro video. It will be better. It'll be cooler. It'll be amazing. We got a hyper potato in the house. Oh yeah! And as always, he likes to remind us: like and subscribe, kids. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it now. All right. So I'm still fighting the cold. After, I don't know, it's only been like a month or something. So if you guys remember, when I closed out Shadow Century Origins, I was sick. I was on with Rini on Rini Draws. I was sick then. I'm still sick. I keep getting sick after sick after sick. I went to WonderCon with my son, had a great time. I was kind of sick, but I got through it, right? And then I get home, I get this sinus infection that I had to literally go to the ER for so I could get like just some decent sleep. It was so bad, like headache. It was horrible. So anyway, I'm sick again, and it's just like a never-ending thing. But the show must go on. So who cares? Because we got Vaughn Coleman, and we need to do this. We're not going to reschedule, right, Vaughn? All right, man. So without further ado, guys, we've got an amazing campaign. It's New Comic Book Day. It's Monday. It's New Comic Book Day for us. We got a new comic. It's amazing. It's marvelous. It's Phenomenova. Are you ready? Let's welcome the one, the only, Vaughn Coleman.
How you doing? I like the intro. New Comic Book Day being Monday works, actually.
It should be Monday, right? It's like kind of the first day of the working week, you know?
It's weird. It was like I was just kind of getting into current comics because I would always just get collected like this. And then I finally learned what New Comic Book Day was. And then what happened? DC left Diamond. We're like, actually, we're doing a different day. I was like, I just learned this. And they're changing it.
But you know what? Wednesday, I don't know.
New Comic Book Day to me nowadays generally is whenever I feel like going to the store and what's there, or whenever the package arrives, because a lot of what I get now is just crowdfunded. Which now, hopefully, I should have some time. I have some crowdfunded books, like a stack of them that I've been meaning to get through that I just haven't yet.
Hear you. I'm with you, man. Lots to read. So, and you were going back, you were reading like the Claremont run through the Uncanny X-Men, right?
Oh, God, yeah.
So,
yeah, I have to finish that too.
Okay, yeah. So, you got a lot of reading to do, man. So,
I have a list of so many runs. Every day I get reminded of a new one that I have to read.
Right. Start a list, dude. You got to have a list. Like, all right.
I have a list. And then I have lists like, okay, what's priority within that? So, like, I want to read Claremont's. I got to finish New Teen Titans. I want to read Peter David's Hulk, George Perez's Wonder Woman, all of 90s Batman. I want to like all the Dixon stuff, and who else wrote? Alan Grant and Doug Mensch, like that whole era, like Nightfall. I want to read, especially now that I know Graham and I feel like I should have want to read all of it.
Right. So you'll be like 60. You'll have gotten through it all, you know.
Yeah,
it won't take too long.
And that's the thing too, is why like it's actually, we're not just competing with at least for my generation, in terms of my generation, we're not competing with like current comics only. We're also competing with, you have to realize that like if current comics suck, that's okay, because all old comics are new to me. So you know,
there you go.
I always got something to read. Now I feel bad for the fans that have been like keeping up with every issue, and then suddenly it sucks. Those people I feel especially bad for, because they're like, I've been reading this for 40 years. It was good. And now it doesn't work. You know, those people I feel the worst for.
Right. Hyper Potato is right on point. Being a dad of small kids will get you sick. My kids bring me all the plagues. Yeah. Oh, you go hang out with friends, and then you find out like the next day, like, oh, sorry, hey, my kid is sick. And you're like, oh, okay. And then, you know, your kid starts get the runny nose and the coughing, and you're like, ah, great. But yeah, no, I've got 4 small kids. Well, not too small. My son's going to be 14 in just 7 days. Nope. on the 27th, so 5 days. Crazy.
Wow.
But my youngest, she's coughing. It's great. We just share it, But hey, I got my tea. I got this in case I got to blow my nose. So in case I like hide myself, that's why.
That's my strat. I learned that it's improper etiquette to like cough or sneeze on stream.
Yeah. Well,
is what I learned. What I was taught. I don't really care if you do it, but I was taught that when I was on other people's. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think that happened.
Dude, I was on with Rini on my closeout stream, and I had to like keep like muting myself because I'm like hacking, and it's like, oh my
you've been sick for that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I got like a little bit better, but then I got sick again, and it's like a never-ending continuous thing. But anywho,
horror. I mean, I think like con crud especially is something that I've gotten a few times. Like just something about all those people getting in the room. Although I remember at New York Comic Con I was fine, but like a lot of the time, like MegaCon. Let's see. No, I was on MegaCon this year.
Dude.
I remember there are a few cons that have like knocked me out.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. So last San Diego Comic-Con, my friend I sat next to, Donnie Tran, so the past 2 years I was next to him, and then I had Ace Continuato on my left. But
I know Ace.
Yeah. He's awesome, man. So, but Donnie, he was masked up, like he was double masked for back-to-back years, right? So, but last year I found out on I guess after he got home, him and his wife had COVID for like the first time, and he was double masked the whole time and still got it. Wow. So it happens, man. I was only masked the first year because San Diego Comic-Con made you, but after that I was like, forget it. But anyhow, we got to talk about some Phenomenova.
Absolutely.
But first, let's show your trailer because your trailer is awesome. It will set the stage. And let's see here. Don't. All right, guys, you ready? Are you ready? Here we go. Here's a Phenomenova trailer.
When the whole world was dragged into World War III, brave men like my father fought on the front lines. And they weren't alone. That was 20 years ago. Now it's up to us to carry on their legacy. And every so often, the earth from which we come gives way for something new, something greater to be born. And with them, even greater threats to face. Bring it on! Phenomenova. For you, Dad. For you.
Nice, dude.
Thank
nice.
You.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Cool. So seeing those quotes, Billy Tucci, awesome quote. And then you got Irene. So Irene is proofreading your story, your script. Tell me about that.
Well, she wasn't okay, so if you look at her channel, she does create a block, right? So we just we send each other stuff. Like I've read Fiendish 2.5. I've seen some of her thumbnails for 3. We just kind of like as we're talking, we'll send each other stuff. But I did want like her feedback on my script. And then after that, because she was one of the first people I asked to do a cover. And I was like, can I get your so I was like, oh, have you read the script? And then once since she's read the script, I was like, all right, what's a moment you want to do the cover for? And she was like, oh, I want to do this. Here's what I envision in my head. And so that was really cool. But it wasn't like she I mean, because we're friends, she was like, we send each other stuff, and she read my script. She gave great notes. And I went back and I implemented some of them. And then she ended. That's a tweet. You could find that tweet with that quote.
Nice.
But yeah, that was a quote from her that I was like, you know what? I already had the Billy quote. I had like a blank spot as I was editing it. I was like, you know what? This tweet was really nice. I'm gonna put it in there.
Nice, man. So she liked it. She liked it.
She did. She did. And she's not a superhero fan. Well, not like, let's put it this way. I convinced her that superheroes are cool when Marvel Comics didn't. So she worked there for a couple of years.
All right.
So
yeah. So, all right, man. Well, there you go. If Irene is on board with Phenomenova, then I think we could get on board.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's talk. Because now I remember when you first were, tweeting about this and stuff, it had a different name. So tell me about the name change.
Yes.
What was up with
that?
that?
I think I still have. Do I still have the Living Legends cards? I do. So it has gone through a few different names.
Okay.
So it was when I was little, I had come up with what I thought was an original idea. Lightning Lad. Turns out that name was taken. And then, was the Vortex for a bit. And then when I was finally working on it, it was Living Legends, which I still have these that I gave out at Tampa.
Gotcha.
Oh, someone drew this on the back. I don't know. Anyway, there were a lot of artists walking around. It could have been anyone, honestly. I think, yeah. So,
what is it?
Oh, it's nothing special. It's just, hold on. Let's see. Can I?
No, I meant on the backside. Was somebody
someone just drew like a winky face, I guess, or a face. So I don't know. I don't know who it was, but it was somebody. So Living Legends, they didn't. Living Legends was like a name I had that I really liked, and then someone had actually DM'd me, someone from chat, and was like, "Hey, just letting you know, there's this guy who used that. He can be so happy. Be careful." And I was like, well, so I was like, all right, I'll get around to that eventually. And then I was like, okay, I'm this close to launching. If I got to change it, I got to rebrand everything. So let's get that over with. And so I went into like this I talked to a lawyer and he was like, yeah, it's probably a good idea. So I was like, all right. So I went into like this manic state where I was like, okay, I have all this shit I have to do. I'm going to put this all aside because none of it means anything if I don't. Oh, what's the comic? Because I was so sick of when I'd go out and about. Like I had, it was around the Christmas and the holidays. It was like I was at a holiday party and they're like, oh, you're making a comic? What's it called? And this is during the transition period where I had all these family members that I was talking to and I had to go, well, it's Living Legends, but I'm changing the name. And I was like, I'm so sick of doing that. I need to come up with a new name right now. And so I go into my basement and I'm writing down all these words. I definitely overthought it, but I was also, it ended up working out. I would be like, okay, this, what are some things that it's about thematically? What are superheroes? And I was coming up with all these things like these words, Vanguard and all this and all these words. Yeah. And then I was like, thing that kind of I just brushed aside was like phenomenons. Well, they are like a phenomenon. If having superpowers is a phenomenon, being, whatever. And also, I was like, all right, well, they're also, what else are there? The young superhero. So he's going to be part of a team called, so his name is not Phenomenova. His superhero name is Galvanite, which is another process I had to go through that I'll get into. But the renaming process, naming something I don't have difficulty with. It's the renaming sometimes especially when I've been attached to a name for a while. But so like Nova, all right. So Nova is like a young star, right? It's like a young, bright star with a lot of potential. And so I had thought that, and then I just had these words, and I was like phenomenon, and I kind of put them together, and I was like, that works because they are young, bright stars, right, with a lot of potential and energy for good, and they're bright light in a dark world. And then you look at, well, they're also a phenomenon because they're not just that, they have powers. They might become media phenomenons, media sensations, and so I was like, it worked. And it was, but I remember I came up with it, I liked it, and then as I was laying in bed that night, I was like, actually I hate it. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to sleep on it. And then I woke up the next morning, I was like, oh, I like it again. And then I pitched it to like my family members. They were downstairs and they go, I had a list of like 4 names that I narrowed it down to. And they were like, Yeah, Phenomenova is the most unique one. I was like, are you sure? And then I would get feedback from a lot of people. Rini liked it. Some others didn't. Phil Diaz would still for months, he'd be like, hey, man, I have a new idea for you. I'm like, I've settled on the name. He'd be like, are you sure? And like, but some people would hate it. Some people would love it. But I would have messages, people going, yo, I love the new name. And people who didn't like it, a lot of them warmed up to it. But I took a while to warm up to it because it's not a real word that exists, but
yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, man, it's cool.
So
I agree.
Typing it a lot took a while.
I bet.
Like I remember one time I typed it wrong in a tweet, and someone goes, "Hey man, just saying you're," and totally in good faith. He was like, "Hey man, like I'm looking forward to back your book, but the fact that you even spelt it wrong in the tweet means maybe it's too much of a mouthful." I was like, "Got a point. It's got a point."
Yeah, no. Because I remember I assumed it was something like that because that's just something as a creator you got to live with. Like there's other creators out there and they're doing stuff, creating stuff. And even with the new Battle Mode Omega book I'm working on, we really liked Omega Guardians. And after doing some research, it was like, dude, it was like Power Rangers had an Omega Guardians offshoot. Transformers did something with that. It was like an actual character. And then this dude had his like he just wrote a quick script or like a fan thing called Omega Guardians, and I was like, crap, man! But we really like the name, so they're going to be referenced in the book as the Omega Guardians, but the title we had to change, right? So it was like, all right, you got to go through all that. So anyhow, but Phenomenova, yeah, I mean,
yeah, I found there are a few words that work with everything. I found Omega and Alpha work with everything. Yeah. I found there are a few things that work. Fire, you put fire with any combination of words works. Star, hence why there's Starfire and Firestar, right? Storm works with everything, hence Firestorm, right? So Firestorm, Star, Force. You put those words with anything, and one if like, okay, Star
Omega
Force. What's taken? Omega Force, Alpha Force. Alpha. One of the names I wanted to go with was Forever Fire for the name of the team, which I thought was awesome. So did someone else who trademarked it. So,
yeah.
If you have a cool name, it might be taken.
Yeah. Alpha Flight, I'll never quite love. But hey, anyway.
They're Canadian. They're okay.
Yeah. Are you Canadian?
I actually haven't read that. No.
Okay. All right. You never know, man. You're running a lot of Canadians. Anyway.
Yeah. A lot of artists, too. A lot of great artists.
Yeah. So tell us about your team, because I know Jesse Hagee. He was the colorist on my book, Shadow Century, the first one. And he's awesome. He's like got that Alex Sinclair vibe. He's really
which is what I was going for. My artist and I both wanted Alex Sinclair look.
Nice. Awesome, man. So tell us a little bit about your creative team.
So I found my artist through Facebook. It was a rigorous process because one of the things, and I was even talking to an artist yesterday, drawing teenage characters is something a lot of artists struggle with, actually, is because it's like that in-between phase of kid, and it's like that's what I was going for. And I had like a distinct look or like a range of looks. And I went through a lot of different artists asking. It had to be a myriad of questions. It was making sure that I could afford them, but making sure that like they were fast enough, but that they were good enough. Making sure that one of the most important things was that I could have a conversation with them on the phone. If I couldn't do that, that was a negative for me because it meant that I think communication is extreme because there's little nuances that can be lost in script, or if they disagree with me, a back and forth exchange. I've had artists where it's like, if you don't have, and I felt the same with my colorist, with my letterer, with my editors, everyone on this creative team I have talked to. I've talked to all of them. I've had calls with like every single person here, and it's all been good. I don't know if I've actually with the characters. No, I have with the character. Maybe the logo, Ed Lavely. I don't know if I've talked to him on the phone, but I've talked to him. Might as well have talked to him on the phone with the messages. It's perfectly fine. I found that communication was key. I thought that his style was like, honestly, the fact that he had a lot of X-Men sample pages helped. I went through a lot of different artists. I would get like, see if they could draw. He drew a sample page for me, and even though that page is no longer in the book, it had that it factor that even though certain things weren't accurate to the script, it didn't matter because it worked. It was he has an energy when he draws. I just got some thumbnails today. We're finally getting to like, I'm not saying there aren't action sequences, but there's like, we had a period was a lot of build up, and then we're getting to, he's just sent me 3 action thumbnails in a row, and I was like, holy crap, this is cooler than what I envisioned in the script. You know, he has an energy, which is important for a character with super speed. He has an energy too. I like that each character he draws has a distinct look and a distinct face. I like that, which was very important to me.
This is like a, you know, semi-static, a little bit of action, but I mean, there's just a lot of energy just in this, you know?
Yes.
Like the guy in the background, he's just chilling, right? And then you got this guy zooming in, but yeah, man, you get a lot of action there with the lines he does.
Yeah, I thought that was one of those pages where I had written all these things, and I told him to hold on drawing that page. I'm going to finish rewriting this description. And then he sent me back just a thumbnail, and I was like, don't even bother what I just wrote. It's so much better than what it had all the main ideas. There were a few little things I could say are different, but it doesn't matter because what it came up with was so much cooler. And it's one of those things as an ego where I have to, as a writer, go, sometimes I'm right. Sometimes they're right. And sometimes there's a middle ground. But he was like, totally nailed it here. And then when I posted this colored art, I got, I think, 20 plus signups. Bancroft immediately used it for his thumbnail that night. Everyone was like, oh, holy, this art is amazing. Like, and then I've had people in person tell me, Vaughn, I signed up when I saw this art, like this double page spread. And I was afraid of sharing too much, but Bancroft was like, you should use this in the background of everything. And so I do. If you look at all the tier thumbnails, I used it for the background of all of that. Like, I thought that the money one was going to be the other one where it's all the heroes standing there, that was going to be the favorite, which I was afraid of because, you know, I do want to do a prequel story about those characters set during the war, like World War III with superheroes, right? But I thought that was going to be the more popular one.
No, man. Yeah, this is great. Now, and I mean, yeah, looking at this, I'm like, dude, this is like, you know, this can compete or outdo Marvel and DC like today. Like this is fantastic.
Thank you. I wanted to do something that, because I remember I would have so many people. Actually, funny enough, I worked at FunMyComic, and obviously the first thing I did when I would get my thing is, okay, I'm gonna do the good work, I'm gonna do the editing, and then kind of be like, hey, I have an idea. You know, that was my whole thing. And actually, funny enough, Rob Hunter, who's, you know, streams a lot now, was one of the guys who was on the phone with me. He was on my launch party and we were talking about it. And he was like, gave me some very good, harsh feedback. He was like, this is an idea I've heard a million times before. This is basically just, okay, this is the Flash. Okay, cool. He gets struck by lightning. He gets powers. All right, I've seen this. And it was like, it made me realize like I had to find ways. There's a way of saying no. So I had like other ideas in the tank, right? But it was like, okay, how do I, because I want to make this. How do I convince it? And you got to just that's one of the great things about crowdfunding is you got to convince people. And the thing is, you'll never get everyone right away. That's the thing. There are people that will be fans that have probably been like, not interested right away. Probably might not back this campaign, but, you know, down the line, who knows? I wanted to create something. People were telling me like, oh, you should make it edgier. You should make the character darker, with some feedback I get. I was like, that's not the point. And I think by realizing when I'd have reactions to that, like sometimes I get some great feedback, right? But then there were things where I'm like, that's a good idea, but it's not what I'm going for. And when you realize that, when you have to say no to things, you go, why am I saying no? It reinforces what you are going for. And I realized that a lot of what I feel is missing in modern comics, I always say this, in an age of deconstruction, right? In an age where everyone's always trying to do their next edgy, oh, superheroes aren't that great, they'd be whatever in real life. I wanted to do a reconstruction and a reconstitution of a genre that I think really needs it.
Yeah. Well, man. Yeah. And okay, just a little small point. I love the fact that, you know, a lot of guys or campaigns will have an awesome cover. And then you go and you look down at the interior art and you're like, what happened? Like, what happened to that great art? You know what I mean? But no, and now when I first saw this, I was like, I saw this cover and I'm like, this is awesome. Like, as an artist, you know, I'm like, it's simple, it's catchy, like I dig it, right? I
Mm-hmm.
want to know more about the character, and so you know, when you started posting art, I was like, yes, like it's you know, it's the same
It's the
artist,
same guy.
yeah,
That was
you know,
important that I led with my I was honest with my I remember when I came up with it as a comic, I had that vision in my head that him holding the crystal and the smirk and whatever. And then I
yeah,
remember I was kind of going back to maybe I'll have him screaming out, but I think I'll think about it, I'll shelve that. And then I just told my artist, oh, he's gonna be struck by lightning on the cover. And the first thing he came up with was what my initial idea was, is that he has kind of like he's ready face while he's holding the crystal. And it was just it worked because it's simple, no pun intended, striking. You know, I wasn't too much, and I decided to add the caption. I liked the caption because I thought it was old school.
What would you want the box there? Are you going to keep the box or no?
The box is going to be there, yeah.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, I wanted the other covers to be good, and I wanted them all to work within the story. I don't like when there's these variant covers. I've seen them before where they'll have like Art Adams will draw like an old school X-Men cover with like all the old X-Men, and then I'm about to buy it. I'm like, wait a minute, and then I open the new. I'm like, this is not what the comic is.
Yeah,
it's not this at all.
Dude, I hate that, man. Yeah, because I'll go back and I'll buy like comics that I missed, you know, or like I'm always hunting down Jim Lee books, and so I'll go buy a book and it's like, oh, Jim Lee's on the cover. And my one comic shop that's local and I go to all the time, everything's bagged and boarded, and they're like, oh, don't open the comics in the store, blah blah blah. They don't want people reading them, right? They want you to buy them, which I get, it's fine. But I'll buy it and I'll get it home and it's like, oh, Jim Lee didn't draw the interior art. I'm like, okay.
Or they'll put characters that aren't on there. They'll be like, oh, this is the Mary Jane month or whatever. And Mary Jane will be on every cover. And then it's like, all right, well, is she in the book? No. Like this villain is in the book. They go to that reactor is in the book. That Final Fantasy VII homage cover was because there was a moment in the book where a blonde protagonist looks up at a futuristic reactor. And I was like, wait a minute. I already kind of had like as a reference image in the script, Final Fantasy VII. And I was like, wait a minute. Why am I not doing a variant cover on this? And they knew games coming out. It's perfect. And I already had my friend Jules. She had done the trading card. She did a great job. And she's a Final Fantasy VII fan. So I was like, can you do this? And she was like, great. And so people have liked that cover a lot. Rini's cover, of course, is selling beautifully. Not even colored yet. Still selling. And she was telling me, she was like, can I please just remove the helmet and draw his hair? And I was like, fine.
Okay. All right. Is she coloring it too?
So yes.
Okay, I figured she would.
I told her I'll pay the extra for the covers, for the colors.
Cool, nice, man. All right, so let's dig into the little things. So it's 68 pages, and is that
64 pages of story, 68 pages total.
Gotcha. Okay, good deal. All right, and then
were you asking if it's set?
Well, yeah, because like I know as we're creator writer, right? I'll like get up to whatever. And I'm like, I need to add a few more pages, you know? So I was like, is everything like set in stone, or are you kind of like, we'll see?
I mean, I'm at this point, I've had 50. We're about, in terms of thumbnails, we've got up to 54. In terms of pages, we have 50 of them done.
Nice.
So I think we're on track to be there. I mean, if need be, we can add, but I don't see it happening necessarily.
Right.
Like if whatever,
September is your date. I see.
I plan on shipping before then, I hope.
Okay.
Here's the thing. It's mostly done, like I said, but I've been told to add extra time because delays happen. You know, they absolutely happen. It's possible it could ship later than that. I don't think so, though. I mean, I'll be transparent with people. Like if I'm shipping earlier, I'll say, hey, we're shipping early. If I'm shipping later, I'll say, hey, here's what's going on. There's been a delay. It is going to be later than September. But my plan is to ship before then. It looks like the book is going to be penciled and inked, possibly even by the end of the month. We'll see. Or at least early May. It'll be done soon. The covers are pretty much done. The colors, Jesse is more than halfway there. Letters, I'm already started lettering just because I wanted to get it up faster. And I've had editor notes as I go, so we are kind of it took a bit, but once we got a flow going, and Things are moving at a pretty good rate.
Who's doing your lettering?
George Medina. So if you look,
Is that
he
down?
actually.
Okay, I see it right here.
So if you look, actually, you can you can see my whole creative team. But he had done my first published work, which is a 10-page short story here that I do plan on doing a full comic on, and he had done a great job on that. I was like, why not hire him again?
Dude, your artist, Philip Cruz, he looks like an action star or something. Like, what's up with
I'll tell him he's I don't know where the picture's from, but he's
straight out of Hollywood. He looks like, dude, it looks like he's like a martial artist too, man. He looks sick, man.
He's really good.
Moonlights as like a ninja in Hollywood or something. He's a stunt man. Anyhow, all right. Another thing you got to talk about this because it says it's dedicated to your dad, and he was killed in the 9/11 terrorist attack. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so I was writing it over and over, and I didn't want it to come off as too much of a like self-insert, whatever. And so for a while in the script, it was like the dad just kind of wouldn't be referenced in the picture, and I was like, I'll come up with something, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I realized, why does it feel like my character's not hollow, but like he's missing something? And so I kind of dug down. I was like, well, what motivates me and what motivates my favorite characters? And a lot of my favorite characters are motivated by loss of some kind. And I was like, well, why do I love superheroes? And all these points converged on this, that I was like, well, when I was little, I had lost my dad in 9/11. And I was like, I needed I was angry, there was some kind of sense of justice that I needed in male role models. And it was like superheroes provided and an escape too. And superheroes provided like all of those things because they showed like there are good people that can take tragedy, right, and make the world better for other people. And it was a great model for me to follow. It gave me a sense of comfort. And so when I kind of realized that personal connection, it made sense why I've had this idea for so long and I wouldn't let it go. And I was like, let me put this in the script. And I realized one of the main points of the script, because I spent more time rewriting the first 20 pages than everything else in the script, right? And including all the later issues, like more time in the first 20 pages. And I was like, well, what is it thematically about? And I realized that him having a dad that was a hero, that instilled life lessons to him, was important. And so I even took out some favorite scenes to reinforce that theme. And then when I realized that, it became obvious that this character was going to have to be modeled after my father. I wanted to, if I'm going to do this, I'll dedicate it to him. So he's like, most characters are not really heavily based on me, but he was the only one where I sent my artist's references a bit. Please make him look like my dad. And my mom was enthusiastic. It's like, if you're going to do it, make him a hero. And I already had this role, and I had debated like, well, what do I want him to do? What do I want him to be? And I was like, well, logically in the world, right? 20 years ago, where there was World War III, well, like every able-bodied man would be like fighting in the war. So I was like, well, it's not even like, it's just naturally that would make sense. So I'll make him like he fought during the war. Mm-hmm. I decided to make it where it's like, okay, let's meld what I have. Like, the specific details weren't as important as the overall themes. Like, I worked very much in themes, and I felt that like him coming back from the war and his dad kind of helps construction with an area that was destroyed during the war, and he brings friends from the war to help rebuild. And so his dad kind of became a figure of like stepping up when people need it, both before and after the war. And because of that, he's able to build this life for his family before he's killed. And with the terrorist thing, I wanted to, because I was like, well, how do I want him to die in a terrorist attack? And I was like, I didn't spend too much time on the details of that. And I also, one thing I changed is that I made it a suicide bomber. So it's not like, because I grew up where there's still to this day as a grown man, there is a still active manhunt for the people involved. I wanted to change that because I knew that if that character got superpowers, like he'd be wanting to nonstop be hunting down his dad's killers. And that wasn't the story I wanted to tell. So
Keep talking. I will be right back.
Gotcha. So I would, one of the things I would do is I was like, okay, let's make it a suicide bomber. So it's like a one and done kind of thing. That's not to say that there's not more to it, but that it was someone awful. And then he's just the main character's left alone with this anger. And he has these lightning powers now. And it's almost like it's too late that he can't strike out and stop this guy because this guy's already dead. And now he just has to move on, and he has this anger. I wanted the character to have an anger. It's not necessarily explicitly stated, but there's still some unresolved issues with this character. I like having a character that's idealistic, and I think what I wanted to do was have him, he believes in a heroic ideal, but he's not quite there. And in writing my way to try and find a logical way for him, okay, by the end of the issue, he'll have his costume and everything. I found that the frustration in me writing and knowing, okay, but that logically doesn't make sense. He's not ready to take on this villain. He's not ready to do this. I actually found that I was writing good stuff in that frustration phase. And so I extended the hero's journey in a sense, because I was like, let's have him be in his makeshift costume in all of issue 1. And you know what? Let's keep him there for he's going to be, so next issue, he's going to be training to become, instead of becoming a member of the team right away, you'll see the main team and he's working to become one of them. He will be trained by one of the heroes you see in the World War III thing. I won't say who, but he will be trained by one of them. And it's important that, like, I felt that the path toward becoming a hero was actually really interesting. And so I wanted to stay there.
That's a big part of the story for sure, man.
Yeah.
Definitely. Awesome. That is cool. All right. Well, let's go back up. I mean, I think you covered a lot of the story, but is there anything else as far as the story goes? So the story is about him, but the Phenomenova are a team that he's perhaps like working towards joining.
Yeah. So they are a team that will be, the word Phenomenova is not mentioned in the issue. Okay. He will be joining the team later on, but it's the name of the series and will be the name of the team. But
now is this the team, or is this the team at the time of World
War III? They are called the Crusader Corps, which I hope to make. That was another name change I had to make, but that was an easier one. Crusader Corps. Crusader Corps was actually one of the names when I was writing down the name for the new team, Phenomenova. I was like, Crusader Corps is a new name, but a cool name, but it doesn't fit with the superheroes. I was like, oh, but you know who it does fit with? These World War III characters. So I transferred that name onto them. But they are, I would love to do this as a prequel series. While I want Phenomenova to be ongoing, but I'd love to do this as a prequel series as well. Set 24. Because as I was coming up with the world history of World War III, like when I came up with that idea, and who would the characters be that fought in the war? Well, they'd have someone from this country and this. As I was coming up with just that as a background, I was like, this is a story. This is a story in itself. I'm going to write this. And so I do plan on doing that. And yeah, I mean, I had a lot of
so I'm just curious, who's in your World War III? Who are the main players?
All right, so China is going to be one of the main threats. What I wanted is, so superhumans, as they popped up in this world, they started popping up like a little, like let's say more than 20 years ago, so a bit before World War III and before World War III started, right?
Okay.
World War III ended 20 years ago. And they kind of accelerated issues that were already going on with the war. So you had in China, this guy who would go on to become Lord Dragonfire, who could manipulate fire to his will. Well, he uses those powers, he rises to power, and then he takes over, and now he's power hungry. And there are other superhumans spreading out the world, and it almost accelerates a superhuman arms race. And people with power, suddenly there's power imbalances, which leads to people taking power, people fighting back, and it leads to accelerating what those conflicts are into World War III. And that's what happened. But so you had, I remember I would spend a lot of time writing it down. There was at one point where I even considered having Russia, and the twist, having Russia be on, but I was like, nah, they wouldn't be on our, that doesn't make sense. So I'd have, yeah, I toyed with the idea, but I was like, I don't see that happening. So I have, so I would make lists. I'd look up like relationships between countries. Even there's an opening battle scene where even if you don't see it, I actually would put a lot of effort into writing it, and then the artist, it ends up not even really being that clear from the artwork. But I would give my artist more info rather than less. I was like, all right, well, where should the opening battle take place? Rini and I had a discussion. She goes, oh, here's some countries that it could take place in. I was like, oh, I didn't think of this. Here's some places. And she gave me a lot of World War III ideas. So she might even be involved in that prequel project if we get there. We talked about it. I definitely would love to bring her aboard. Especially, you know, being from Taiwan where she's constantly being threatened by China. She resonated with that. And so she gave me a lot of ideas in that department. But yeah, I mean, that was something that was really interesting to me. The whole China angle and whatnot. And so the major players, so I'd be like, okay, well, North Korea, obviously, and I would decide like where the battle lines are. And again, you will see this in the prequel story, but it was like, okay, what it boiled down to, a lot of it was where are the interesting borders? Like, okay, obviously Israel is going to be fighting like these countries here, everybody, Ukraine and Russia, that was already happening. Well, I had come up to the day before that, but every time I see these real world conflicts, I'm like, okay, that's a battlefield. So Russia and Ukraine, that's going to be a line. North Korea, South Korea, obviously. Japan is going to be trying to get attacked. You know, like I would look at like, okay, where would the lines be globally? And I don't have it all figured out, but I have a lot of it figured out where it's like these are the areas where there would be a lot of fights going on.
Yeah, cool, man. Good deal. So a lot of kind of world building stuff going on in your head.
Yeah. But that was all 20 years ago. And so it's like after I have a general idea of how things have settled. Now you're not going to see that. You're going to see basically this whole story is set in one fictional county that was rebuilt after the war in America. But there's other stuff going on in the world too. But America, we're okay. We're okay. We survived World War III. Not perfect, like that happened in America, but they survived.
Yeah. Good deal, man. Alrighty. Yeah, I took a look at your campaign right after. It was probably like around a day you were at 5K, right?
So, within the first 24 hours, we did hit 5K. Yeah.
Nice. All right, man. Good deal. So on day 3, so of the $1,000 goal. Now I'm, because I've done crowdfunding, is the $1,000 like just to pay for your printing? Like what? I mean, is it like you obviously want more, but is it like are you totally caught up for paying your artist, paying your, okay.
No. I don't talk about that much, but no. If you people don't realize like they're like, you made this much money. I'm like, I'm sure you think that. Yeah. People don't realize one, because I'd always be like, oh my God, look at how much these people make extra. Oh, no one. Here's the truth. Barely anyone puts what their actual goal is in the goal.
Yeah.
Right.
It's one of those things. Yeah. I mean, I did honestly when I did my first book, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna. I didn't want to work on my book and be losing money because I knew at the time I didn't have
people do that. Yeah.
It was like because like we're in like right before COVID. It was like COVID was just about to hit big time because it was February of 2020. And I was like, I either need to get a job or I'm going to do a crowdfunding campaign and I'm going to work from home. And praise the Lord, I got enough money. I was like, all right, I get to work from home. So great. But I set my goal like higher. So I think it was like maybe 10,000. And even that wasn't like, I knew I was still going to need more, but I was like,
you got 10,000? How long did it take to reach that though?
It took about, I want to say almost halfway through the campaign.
Okay. Yeah, because that's if I get around that much, I mean, that would still be great. But luckily I did have most of the comic. The comic is funded, but it's a matter of what I can make back. Like it's being produced, but it's a matter of all right, well, it'll be profitable. Well, whatever.
Yeah. And I mean,
you will be getting the comic if you back it. Like that is a guarantee.
Good deal. But as an artist, creator, and crowdfunder, I feel people's pain when it's like, yeah, I'm doing this book, but it ends up being a labor of love because you're really not making too much. So we want to make you happy to do your book.
Oh yeah, thank you.
And so
thank you.
But just so people understand, I mean, it's like it costs a lot of money to make a book.
People
especially
don't realize.
Now, in my shoes, I'm the artist, right? So I am in a sense paying myself, but still, it's like I can make a lot or I can make a little, right? So, but in your case, you're paying an artist, so we want you to make some money, brother.
Yeah, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And I want to get your book too. I had so many things to back, so many expensive with this, but I absolutely intend on getting yours. I mean, it like Shadow Sentry is a great name. It's one of those names where I'm like, shit, why didn't I think of that? To be fair, it wouldn't fit the premise of this book at all.
Right.
But even just in general, Sentry was a word that was in when I mentioned that I had that list of superhero related words. Sentry was absolutely on that list. Sentry, Vanguard, Guardians, Squad,
dude, I know it, man. I've got the list
Force.
too. We're all going through the same names.
You use the thesaurus too. I remember because I'm like, these guys all use the same shit. I know it. We all look up a word you like or like what you're going for, and then do you use the thesaurus.com and all those adjacent websites?
Yeah, for sure. What are some other words I haven't thought of? Oh, there's a good one. But dude, it's like, okay, Shadow and Sentry, just put it together.
Yeah, Shadow Sentry. Yeah, dude, I love alliteration. I'm a big fan of that. I mean, my main character was all right. So when I went on Reni's stream, this is another way they helped me out. Actually, there's I could even pull up a page. There's a reference in the book because I had thought on this, I was going to hide the superhero's name for a while, and I had said,
thank you, brother.
Yeah, no, Shadow Sentry looks fantastic. Yeah, I had come with the name Lord Lightning, and I thought I was a genius. And then I brought it on the show Creative Block, and then immediately they all started laughing, and I was like, "Oh, all right." So I gotta change it. So there is a reference in the script where he's going through a notebook of rejected superhero names, and you have Lord Lightning crossed out.
Nice.
So that's a reference to them.
That's awesome, man. That's the kind of stuff that makes it extra special.
Yeah, so that's like an in joke for everyone that was watching that stream. I made sure I was like, make sure you can. I gave him a list of a lot of my rejected names that I was like, make sure this one is included and that it's clearly visible, because I want people to get that reference.
Nice.
It's also cool like doing it on stream because it's almost like they're a part of the process in a way. Like that's why I think crowdfunding is actually extra special, is because in a way, I mean, obviously it's my baby and whatever, but like it's like they're helpful in a way. And also working with friends, it would be like I'd talk to Rainey and like we'd give each other some feedback. She'd give me some of hers, I'd give her some of mine, and it's almost like in a way, it's almost like you're reading it and you're like, oh, I see that. I help with that. Like I'm sure she'll see that when she reads mine, and I'll see some of that with 2.5, and it's just really cool. It's really cool seeing that stuff. Or like Jake was sending me his book. His book looks really cool. Jules, who's my artist, one of my cover artists and my trading card artists, I'm editing her book. That was really cool. And yeah.
Awesome, man. Good deal. All right, well, let's hop into your tiers or rewards. This is FundMyComic, guys. This is FundMyComic. So why? Well, this will be a whole nother rabbit trail. I don't want to get into it too much, but that's exciting that you chose FundMyComic to do this, and you're only doing FundMyComic.
No, I do plan on doing Kickstarter as well.
Okay.
I'm not great. If enough people, I like Indiegogo as a platform. I don't like the shadow banning and all that. I don't like that they put a tip in your car automatically. I've had to refund campaigns and back again because it's like, dude, I'm not spending 20%. No. Like FundMyComic, they do it as an option, but which is nice that they allow that. Yeah, I mean, FundMyComic has been great. They do take a lower percentage. I like the fierce independence. I like that I could talk to Luke Stone. My understanding is no one can get in contact with anyone at Indiegogo.
Yeah, I didn't even try. When they shadow banned my campaign, I'm like, dude, I'm not even trying. I don't want to get the run around.
I will back something on Indiegogo if like either A, there's something there that you can't get anywhere else, or if it's only on Indiegogo. But like, let's put it this way: if Billy Tucci launches a campaign on FundMyComic and Indiegogo, I'm taking FundMyComic. Like if this, for example, Mike Barron launched on, I was like, all right, I'm backing FundMyComic. It wasn't even a question for me. I prefer FundMyComic mostly on principle that I know Luke Stone. And whatever. If I like when Graham Nolan launched his campaign on Indiegogo, right? I looked up Graham Nolan in the search bar. He has campaigns from years ago that come up first that are already done. You can't even find them.
Mm-hmm.
Before you have to like go into his thing and find, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's so unintuitive. If I look up, I'm on the homepage right now, but even outside of it, you think I'd ever be on the Indiegogo homepage? Give me a break.
Yeah.
Give me a break. Maybe for like 5 minutes. If I look myself up, I am on the FundMyComic thing. It's the algorithm is great. I do plan on using Kickstarter as well, just because Kickstarter is, and the more, especially going out to conventions, you see this. I go, oh, I'm crowdfunding. They go, oh, you're Kickstarter. And even if it's like Kickstarter is the word, you know how like people will say, I'll Google it no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, search. They do that with oh, you're Kickstarter. I'm like, well, I'm not using Kickstarter. Oh, I just say Kickstarter anyway. Like people, it's the default platform. So whether it's my favorite or not, it has by far the biggest audience. So I will do a Kickstarter as well. But FundMyComic, I wanted to lead the charge with. But yes, I will be doing a Kickstarter.
Awesome, man. All right. So we've got the $5 add a signature. Then this will be Vaughn Coleman's signature, right?
Yes.
On any and all items that you get.
Yeah. So if someone backs to like $1,000 tier and they're like, I want you to sign literally everything, I will do it for $5. Just tell me.
Nice. So, sign it all, Vaughn. Sign it all.
Yeah. But here's the thing: if you don't, that's not a required tier. Because if you see me, if you know me in person, or if you see me at a convention, I'll sign for free. But that's just because that's an extra step in fulfillment, and I have to go down to the fulfillment center to do that. So,
and your book is $20, whereas the average cost of a book is $25. So
yes, I wanted to do that.
That's cool. Yeah,
I wanted to do it for because it already hurt. Like at first, I was like, why does everyone charge $25? That's ridiculous. And then as I was doing the production costs, it's like, oh no, actually, it's not ridiculous at all. I always said that. I was like, this is ridiculous. I can go to my local comic shop, and I'm like, well, my local comic shop, they're printed on not very great paper. They have riddled with ads. They're funded by a major corporation. They sell way more. Of course, they could sell for. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Your price point will definitely be higher than them.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I wanted to make it worth it. So everyone who backs this, if you backed in the first 24 hours, you got, actually I give them a little extra time. You got a little trading card from my friend Jules. But regardless, no matter what you back, so I want to make sure that crowdfunding, the main cover will stay. After the campaign, I'm going to print extra, and then I plan on making a website where they'll be sold. All the variant covers are limited, which is why they're a little more expensive.
Okay.
But
makes sense.
Everyone who backs the campaign will get an exclusive free mini print.
Okay, that's this guy down here, right? That one.
Yeah, and then if people really like that one art that like we were talking about so much, if it hits $15,000, I will throw that in as a mini print as well for everybody.
Sweet. Good deal. All right, so now the thing on FundMyComic, which maybe you could help us out with too, but you have here, like, if you intend to get this cover as well as another cover, please scroll further, because FundMyComic is a little bit different. Like, it's not like can you add things into your cart, or is it like you just add what you want and then you pay the shipping on that?
You can, but I chose to I decided that it was just easiest for me and the customer to just do it a separate tier. So that's why it's like, you can, but like I chose, and I'll answer if there's like a really specific scenario, whatever. But that's why I chose to have it be, okay, here's how we do it. You can choose the variant of your choice. And I went through my shipping guy, and you can, you choose it. And it's like, this way we can calculate. It was for the shipping costs was the reason we chose to do it that way. So that way, all right, 2 covers is this amount to ship, 3 covers is this amount to ship, 4 covers is this amount to ship. That's why. So like, that's why we chose to do it that way. Yeah. And also the reason why there's more tiers is because I decided that they're not all going to be worth the same amount. The variant covers are going to be worth more than the main, because I also think it's weird. I actually was planning on not having many variant covers. And then I kind of surprised myself with how many I added. But the thing about the variant cover, A, people like them, and B, they're limited, and I wanted to make it clear there's a clear main cover. That was important to me, that there was a very clear main cover.
Yeah, I dig that. Good deal. So you can add the main cover plus one variant, main cover and two variants. So $50. That's like getting one free, man.
No, it's not. No, you get two variant covers.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was the main cover and two variants.
That is the next one, though. There's main
Oh.
cover and two variants. Then there's all three variants, which no one's done just the variants so far. I've had people, and that's the thing. It's actually why I decided, because initially it was going to be, there was the Sukacia cover, the FF7, and the Rini cover were three different tiers. And I decided, let's just make the variant covers one tier. Keep it. So instead of doing every possible combination, we're just going to do that. But what's interesting is, like, there were multiple people that would just get two covers, and it would just be two Rini covers. They just really, her cover, like I said, very good financial investment. Getting her to do a cover. Her covers are sold very well. I mean, everyone likes the covers in general. Like, especially there's Final Fantasy VII fans that will be like, oh, that's sweet. That's an homage. I'll get that. And then Sukacia's cover was great too. All the covers are great. So I'm really happy with how they all turned out.
This is okay. How do you say her name?
Sukacia.
Sukacia. Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal. Yeah, that's cool. I like that style. That's rad.
Yeah, I didn't. She had pitched me a different idea, and then she was like, while I was drawing it, can I just go with this? I was like, yeah, that's great. I like the colors. I like the way the coloring is super important. That was another thing. I hunted high and low for colorists. I went with a few. What I do is I had the black and white art, just the black and white art that I was promoting with. For a while with the wrong title, well, that was then at the time the right title. For a long time before I got something colored, because I'd be shopping around with colorists, I had to do test colors. A lot of them are good, but they weren't what I was going for. And then when I found Jesse, I was like, this guy's perfect. Yeah. And everyone, like, he's like, everyone is like, Vaughn, who colored your book? Can you put, can I get you? I'm like, I'll give you his stuff. This man better finish my stuff first, but he's going to get some coloring work after this book. Like, I've had multiple people say, I've had artists say, hey, I need a colorist for my cover. What's your colorist?
Yeah.
His stuff, like, because that black and white art was gorgeous, but then he just adds something and it just pops.
Yes.
It's so good. He really, and you've worked with him. I know you know that.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
he like it. His stuff.
And what's interesting is I ran into him like way back at a convention, and he was showing me samples, and I was just like, I mean, at the time, it was like, you're just not there yet. A lot of it was flat, and but man, like he kept going, kept working at it, and like within a year, he was like almost there. You know what I mean? And then a little bit further, and I was like, when I was starting my book, I'm like, oh man, let me go hit up Jesse, because I've been seeing him post on Instagram, and he's getting better and better. And I'm like, let me see if he's available. And there he was, man. He was available for me at that time, so it was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So he's getting better and better. So you snagged a deal right there, bro.
You had a great deal. Yeah.
All right. So all the covers, 95. Let's see. Give me everything. So tell us about this one.
So give me everything. So I decided I was like, you know what? At first I was like, okay, do people like, I wanted to do an 11x17. I've seen so many of them, and I was like, I want one for my book. And I did a poll, and actually most people on Twitter were like, no, I don't really want that. And I was like, you know what? I want it, and it costs more if I can print more. So I was like, I'm just going to throw it on as an option, not even expecting many people to get it. And not many, but here's the thing. Even just printing that extra, like 20 instead of just one, does help. And so I threw it as an option, because I'm like, you can get all the covers, and then if you want the poster as well, just $20. And a few people have gone for it. And I was like, well, for the everything tiers, I'll throw in the posters as well. And so people have been snagging. No one, the producer tier I threw in just almost as like we'll see if even one person gets that is good money, right?
Yeah.
If even one person gets the $500 tier, that is good money. Right?
And you got one person. There you go.
Yeah, I did. And I was like, oh my God. Like, that was great.
That's awesome, man.
So even though the trading card window is missed, if you back in one of the crazy tiers, you know what? If you are willing to throw that kind of money, you'll get that day one trading card.
Very cool.
Okay. You'll get multiple copies, in fact.
Right. All right. And then you got the producer tier. What's 10 copies?
That is 1,000. But I wanted to make sure if you spend those, you get more than your money's worth. That is $1,000 value. You get credited in the book as a producer. Your name in the book, if you did 500 as well, as a special thanks. But your name in the book as a producer, if you do the producer, you get a handwritten thank you from me. You get a producer credit in the book. You get more than $1,000, actually more than $1,000 worth of books, an over $1,200 value, and the shipping is included in there. Like, so for neither of those, you don't have to pay for shipping for either of those orders. It's included within that 500 or 1,000 amount. You get 15 copies of the main cover, 10 copies of each variant cover, 5 11x17 posters, 5 Dark Cloud mini prints, or 10 of these Dark Cloud mini prints, 10 mailing list trading cards. And once it's available digitally, I'll make sure, which I do plan on doing what Rini is doing, where there's like a website or once it's available digitally, just the producer just has to let me know, and I'll make sure they get that as well. So,
gotcha.
Everything. They get
signature must be added. So you're going to sign it all, right? If
they add the signature.
Okay, but it has to be
$5. If you want to spend $1,000, like if you want to spend $5 extra for me to sign it all,
gotcha.
You know, if you're not, I imagine that they spent $1,000, the $5, you know, just to sign. I will literally sign 45. I will sign every single one of those things if you just pay the $5. No problem. Man. Or if you take it to me for free, if you somehow fit that all in a convention, or take it to my house, I don't like. If they know me well enough, I'll sign it. You know. But if you want it to arrive, or even just some of it, if you're like, I just want one of those copies, you just pay for the producer tier and then specify how much of it you want signed, and I'll do it.
Cool, man. And I like you got the retailer tier. I did this as well. Nobody picked it up, but I mean, yeah, I know people who have shops and stuff, so I'm like, let me just put it on there. If they want it, they can grab it. If not, no biggie. But yeah, this is just a good way to get it into shops, you know. Helps them out. Helps you out.
I forgot to. There's a retailer I do want to call. I forgot about that. I'm going to call him. I just wrote that down.
Cool deal. That's why I'm here, man. I keep you on point, you know.
Yeah. I scroll past that tier every day, and I'm like, nah. Well, maybe not every day. I do the refreshing thing.
And you know, just if you can go into the shops and talk to them, that's probably a good.
That's what I did. Someone told me that they would do it, and I'm like, okay. Yeah. And then I haven't reached out yet because okay. One of the main things I've learned is customer service. Most people do not get. They'll be like, oh, I signed up for the mailing list, so now you'll let me know. I'm like, I did let you know it's available, and they're like, what do you mean? Right. I'm like, you can get it. Well, I don't understand. It's not here. I'm like, yeah, it is. It's the rewards. You just gotta get it. So, you know, like I've been on the phone with people explaining, here's how you go through. My mom was like, hey, I know all these people that want it back. Explain it how it works. And I'm like, it's really, and then as you explain the process, you realize how maybe it's not simple to average, you know, everyday people.
Yeah.
Because I remember I wouldn't get it. I'd be like, what do you mean? How do you crowdfund? Like, you donate, but then where do you get the book? It's like, no, you get it by donating. That's
yeah. No, dude, it's my fourth campaign. My dad's still like, oh, did I miss it? Oh, put one aside for me. I'm like, yeah, I got you, Dad. But like,
it would help me out.
I say the link like 3 times, bro.
Yeah, I'd have an email list with over like 500 people. I'm like, oh, that means they'll all back like day one. They've told me this. And it's like 4 days in, and people are even right before the stream, and it's no disrespect at all, but they're because they're like, hey, I don't get how the site works, and I'm like, okay, so this is what it's going to be so I imagine my number is going to be higher once it's like figuring it out time, you know. Yeah. Or if they don't figure it out, they could reach out to me directly. So you
might even do a stream where you like literally explain it to people.
Oh, I've done that. Doesn't work. Well, it worked with some.
Yeah.
Most of the people don't even know what a stream is, though. So,
yep.
You know,
the work cut out for you, man.
Explaining, yeah. I've realized a lot of it is going to be explaining, how to get the book.
Yeah, and get on, just get yourself out there. The people will find you. You know what I mean? And the people who know how to do it, they will do it. And you just got to convince the other people.
Yeah, exactly.
But, and then last but not least, you got the little mini print.
Yeah, so like I said, there's a free copy with everything. But I figure if you want more than one copy, just add it in $3.
Okay, gotcha. If you want another copy, okay. Now, you mentioned if you hit 15K, there's going to be another mini print.
Yeah, so if you go up, that one that we were talking about, that art piece everyone wants, you'll get it as a 6x9 mini print.
This guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
If it hits 15K, everyone gets that.
Sweet. Good deal, man. All right. Well, that has taken us through everything. 110 backers. Let me just refresh, just in case. Let's see if anybody was watching from here and wanted to pick up a book. We shall see. Nobody. Oh man, something died. You ever? I think I was on with Rainey. She's like, "Oh yeah, if you
Yeah,
refresh
I
the
learned that. Yeah, I learned.
Yeah.
Narwhal told me that. He's like, "You're not supposed." I've been doing that whole time. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry nobody is back, but I know people will watch this afterwards, and
Yeah.
hopefully, guys, go check this book out. If
Thank
nothing
you so
else,
much.
go look through the campaign. And I mean, $20 is not that much, and it looks like for sure you're going to get a great book. The art looks fantastic. The colors are great.
Yeah.
And
The writing, I think, is okay. I think the writer did a good job. We'll see. Reedy thought I did a good job, and she will. She's not like like she's friendly enough with me where she knows that she should be brutally honest, and she gave me feedback, but she liked the book.
That's what you need, man. So there you go. I think Vaughn is being humble, and I think this book is going to kill it. So
thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So yeah, it looks really cool, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So I wish you the best of luck, and
thank you, pal.
I know you're going to keep getting some more money, bro. I know it's going
to. I hope so.
Keep
either way, it's just the amount of support I've gotten has been great. So
yeah, and this is your first campaign, man. So
yeah,
you know,
first campaign. So I'm very happy right now. So
yeah. So I have your link in the description. If anybody wants to find you on Twitter, the link to the campaign is in the description. So you guys can check it out, even after the fact.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, man. Good luck. So what's your schedule like? You got some more streams coming up?
Who's next? Yeah. I have so tomorrow I have John's Long Box. And then we're gonna keep going from there. So John's Long Box. Then,
have you been on with Bancroft already?
Bancroft is on the list. Bancroft and Joe Sontag both Thursday.
Awesome.
Andy Smith, Pop XP, but it looks like I might be pushing back. So Pop XP, I am going to get on. Who else am I getting on with? I have like a bunch. Pete Cimetti, I'm going to be getting on.
Nice.
And anyone who's watching this, if you want to have me on, more than welcome to. I'm open to. Obviously, I'm going to be promoting this nonstop.
Yeah.
Basically, every day this month, I'll be on someone's show, possibly multiple shows in a day. Oh, Luke Stone's having me on one morning on his show. Thursday is going to be my busiest day because it's going to be Luke Stone's show, and then it's going to be Bancroft that night and Joe Sontag that night. So three on Thursday, and yeah. So.
Cool, man. All right, guys, follow Vaughn on Twitter. DM him if you want him on your show. And,
yeah. I'm on YouTube as well. Check out my YouTube channel. I've got stuff in the kitchen. Cooking.
Is it just Vaughn Coleman?
Yeah, it's just Vaughn Coleman.
Perfect. Alrighty, guys. Well, any last parting words, Vaughn, to our wonderful crowd?
I guess make sure to check out Eric's stuff too. I always mess up the fact that it's
this guy. Oh, wait, no, that dude.
Yeah, I do that every time. Check out Eric's stuff too. Keep an eye on all my stuff. I've got YouTube stuff, some YouTube videos I've been working on for a while. Obviously, this comic campaign, make sure to check it out and stay tuned. I've got plenty of stuff I'm working on, and I'm excited to see you guys all there. So thank you so much.
Let's help Vaughn out and make it worth his while so he will come back and do some more comics for us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would love to. Listen, the faster this gets funded, the more it gets funded. I already have issue 2 written. Faster issue 2 comes out, 3, 4, 5. The faster we get funded, the more we get funded, the faster the issues come out. But obviously, they got to be good, right?
They got to be good. They got to be good. So
they're Rainey. It don't take my word for it. Take Rainey's word for it. She's done some good comics. So.
And like the title asked, I mean, he has impressed Rainey. So if nothing else, that's enough for you to go by.
Exactly.
Yeah, Shadow Century has we closed that out, so I couldn't even really pump that. So so I won't. But just to give you guys a heads up, it is the Commander Noble story is I got 2 more pages of colors I'm waiting on, and I'm having it edited, and then I'm going to start lettering it. I'm going to do the letters because I want to do it. It'll be fun. And yeah, so my plan is to go to print, sometime in May and then start fulfillment in June. So there you go. All righty, guys. Awesome. Thank you, Vaughn, for joining me, man.
Thank you so much for having me, man. It's been a blast.
You got it. All right, guys. Good night. Until next time. Peace.
Yeah, have a good one.
Adios. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
I'm almost done.
All right, here we go.
How you like me now? Oh, how you like me now? How you like me now? How do you like me? No. Now there was a time when you loved me so. I could do no wrong. And now you need to know. Don't break. How you like me now? 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 How you like me now?
And you're sure you saw this?
Yes, I'm sure I saw this.
All right. Let's keep this quiet.
Yes, sir.